We are at Max of Eastman Place with one of my favorite men on trumpet today, Marquis Hill. Welcome to The Rock.
Thank you. So glad to be here.
And again, it's so amazing to hear you're playing and that you're touring this amazing band with you. But for you, let's talk about the journey coming from the Midwest and now spreading your jazz message around the world. And when did you start playing?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually started playing the drums in the 4th grade, switched to the trumpet in the 5th grade, and my band director at the time, Miss Diane Ellis, she gave me my first jazz record in the 5th grade. It was, I'll never forget, it was Lee Morgan Candy.
Wow.
And from that point, I just kind of fell in love with the music. I had never heard anything like it. So I just kind of fell in love with the music, and I was fortunate enough to have, a band director, feeding me this great music at a young age. So played throughout elementary school, played throughout high school, went to college for it. So when I discovered the power of this music in elementary school, I knew I wanted to, have that same effect that it had on my life, on other people. So
we're speaking to trumpeter Marquis Hill on Jazz 90.1, but you also grew up in the hip-hop age as well. So talk about blending those two worlds together, the music you listened to growing up, both jazz, and now doing it as an adult, quote-unquote an adult. Talk about blending those two worlds in together, because a lot of folks, younger folks, are being introduced to jazz through your music.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I think of it as it's a tree, and all the music is coming from this one tree, which is rooted, in black music.
Right.
So to me, hip hop, jazz, soul music, it's all coming from the same tree. It's just on a different branch, if you think about it that way. And the music it's really a big melting pot of all these things. So when I write music, when I listen to music, I don't really separate jazz from hip hop or soul from this. I just look at it as an extension of this tree. And for me, when I write music, I like to write music that has all of those influences in it, because it's natural for me, because I was raised listening to all of these different types of music. So it's a very natural thing to me.
We're speaking to Marquis Hill on Jazz 90.1. That being said, how do we get more African Americans playing music? I used to think about jazz, but now I'm thinking in general, we're in danger of losing the ability to express ourselves through music with instruments.
Absolutely. I think it starts with the kiddies, with the children. Just introducing them to the power and to the greatness of this music at a young age. Like I was fortunate enough to have, like I said, I was in 4th, 5th grade, and I was introduced to Lee Morgan. There's, children in these neighborhoods around the country that never heard of Lee Morgan.
Right.
And he's a staple in this great Black American music. So I think it starts with exposing the students at a very young age to the greatness of this music and how it actually affected the culture and throughout history, what it's done and shaped the music that we hear today.
Speaking of Marquis Hill on Jazz 90.1, so what have you been checking out these days, jazz or outside of jazz?
Oh, man, a little bit of everything. Lately, I've been on a Donald Byrd kick.
Really?
That's one of my major influences. So I check out a lot of Donald Byrd. I've been listening to Nicholas Payton has a new record. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah. Bam is doing it again, yeah.
Yep. Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, yeah.
He released a record, so kind of all over the place a little bit.
So be humble, huh?
Be humble. Always.
Speaking to Marquis Hill on Jazz 90.1. And again, Marquis, we can't thank you enough for taking jazz further with your artistry. And last question for you. When you're playing, especially in a live setting like this, who do you play for? Yourself, the audience, or for your other musicians on the bandstand?
That's a great question. A lot of musicians, they like to say, I'm solely playing for myself, but it's hard for me to say that because the reality of the situation is the energy in the room would be completely different if there was no people here. So I think when I'm performing, I'm vibing off of the energy of the audience and just the energy that's in the room, and just seeing how that affects the music. And there it takes it in different directions.
Cool, man. Well, again, thank you for taking jazz further, Marquis.
Thank you so much.
All right, man.
Yes, sir.